Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're looking at Rivian. Rivian confirms more affordable R2 electric SUVs that will launch in Europe. With less than 3 weeks until the R2 is finally unveiled, Rivian confirmed it will bring the more affordable electric SUVs to the European continent. Now, after some time of waiting, we finally have an idea of what the R2 might look like. In fact, if anything, it's apparently leaked. I've spoken about this in another video, but it's definitely quite interesting because there's a lot of people out there saying that this is not the R2, including myself. This looks too similar to the R1S to be the R2. It looks very similar. So for me, I'm on the side that I don't believe it's the R2. But based on the images that were leaked, the rooftop taken photos, these weren't the nicest photos. They're not the clearest photos, but they did give us some idea of what we can expect for sure. You can see the basic shape to be the same as the clay model Rivian has previously shown on the wraps. Rivian CEO Ajay Skarin said that the R2 will keep the essence of the brand, but in a smaller, more affordable package. And that's what I'm expecting. I'm expecting the R2 to, yes, it will be somewhat similar to Rivian's former vehicles, but I'm expecting it to still have its own identity. I'm not expecting an exact carbon copy, just a slightly different size. That's not what I'm expecting, and that's what it sounds like. That's what it looks like. If this is actually the R2, then it's basically a carbon copy of the R1S, and that doesn't sit particularly well with me. So Rivian R2 will start around 40 to 50,000 US dollars, nearly half the price of the R1S and R1T. The electric SUV was reportedly spotted filming in downtown LA last Thursday. Image from Daniel Allen getting revealed what appears to be a R2. You can see it's slightly more compact next to the R1S. The R2 is the white electric SUV. On the right hand side, the greenish car, apparently that's the R1S. Now it's clear to see that they are slightly different size, but could that just be perspective of the image? In terms of length, they look very similar in terms of length, I must say. It is very hard to tell from this image, almost damn near impossible. So for those in Europe waiting for Rivian to launch, the brand confirmed it will bring the R2 to the European continent. Rivian told Auto Express that the R2 will be available in the UK. So this seems to be somewhat of a PDF document from Rivian. So when can I pre-order an R2? So pre-orders are initially limited to the US and Canada. Sign up for mail-in lists to be notified immediately when they start accepting pre-orders in Europe. When will you announce the price and delivery times for Europe? Initially, pricing and delivery times are only announced for the USA and Canada. If you would like to receive pricing and product news for Europe, sign up for updates. When will I find out more about the specifications and available options? The R2 launches the first opportunity to learn about the R2, register to receive events, reminder, and new product updates. When can I experience the R2 live? We have some exciting plans up our sleeves. Sign up for the R2 updates to stay up to date on product news and events near you. This is very interesting. It's very good to know that this vehicle will definitely be in the US. This is very interesting. It's very good to know that this vehicle will definitely be in Europe. The Rivian R2 page has several European countries listed on the locations, including Austria, Belgium, Switzerland, France, Germany, Spain, the UK, Italy, and the Netherlands. Under the R2 teaser video, the website reads Rivian is coming to Europe with an option to sign up for news alerts. Rivian will officially unveil the R2 on March the 7th at its new Laguna showroom at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. The new model will be built at the 5 billion Georgia facility, which is slated to begin production in 2026. This is very interesting by Rivian, of course. Of course, I love the company. I really do. I really like the stock as well. And I do follow Rivian fairly closely to keep up to date with what they're doing. I think this is one of those EV companies that are incredibly undervalued. I believe that for Rivian, it's definitely a long-term bet for this company. It's definitely a long-term bet. Now, I do have some additional information from Driving Electric. The R2, as mentioned, will be the first non-commercial vehicle model to be sold on this side of the Atlantic and will also be its smallest yet. The R2 will take a form of the electric family SUV, similar in size of the UK best-selling EV, the Tesla Model Y. That is quite interesting. If it's going to be in similar size to the Model Y, that's very interesting. And that's the perfect competitor for Rivian right now. Now, the R2 will be built upon the all-new, never-before-seen underpinning. It's unclear whether the R2 will share the same battery technology as the R1 models, although we suspect the enormous 121 kilowatts, 135 kilowatts, and 180 kilowatts battery packs will be too large to fit on the R2. Instead, we could see the R2 get the R1S entry-level 106 kilowatt standard battery unit, which we suspect should be more than enough for an electric range in surplus of 350 miles. So here's some more pricing. Here's some more European pricing, in fact. A timeline for when the R2 will come to the UK is yet to be confirmed, although when it does arrive, we suspect it'll start around £45,000, putting it in line with rivals such as the Model Y as well as the Volkswagen ID4 and the forthcoming Ford Explorer. I also think this puts it in line with the Porsche Macan and the Polestar 3 and possibly the Polestar 4 as well. Mostly the Polestar 4. Very different size vehicles, I must admit. Probably very different purposes of vehicles as well. But in terms of pricing, that's where it is. After all, the Polestar 4 is supposed to compete with the Model Y. And that's going to be a tough challenge because I think people are easily convinced that the Model Y is closer to an SUV than they will be convinced by the Polestar 4. The Polestar 4 might have the same space or even surpass it in space, but in looks, the Polestar 4 does not look like an SUV. It is considered an SUV coupe crossover, however, but it's not looking exactly like that. Now, this is what I think the Polestar 4 will be competing with, the Kia EV6. It looks like a sedan, but it has somewhat of an SUV kind of identity. And this is what you would perhaps call an SUV crossover, because it's got the sedan kind of body, but at the same time, it's got an SUV kind of space. It's got an SUV kind of personality with a sedan body and look. And that's the Polestar 4, essentially very similar in line with this sort of vehicle. While I think the Rivian R2 will be a proper electric SUV, something that could compete with the Range Rover Evoque, the Land Rover Discovery, the Range Rover Velar, perhaps, while the Land Rover Defender is more up the R1S category. They're big SUVs. They're absolutely monsters. This is great to know. I've been waiting for Rivian to. This is great to know. It's good to know that Rivian do have ambitions outside of the US and they have ambitions to launch in the European continent. This is great for the business. Thank you for watching. Subscribe and I'll see you in the next one.